It's a good thing that you're here. We're talking today about the top 3 thinking errors that will quickly sabotage your parenting. Hi, I'm Dr. Paul Jenkins. I've worked with thousands of families, helping them to identify the thinking patterns that can quickly send them off in the right direction. I've got 3 of those for you today. The most important one is last, so listen through till the end. Here's thinking error number 1. If I'm a good parent, my children will listen and obey. It's really tempting to think this because sometimes we observe other people's children and they seem to listen and obey. Well, we're probably only getting a really short glimpse of whatever's going on for that family. And it's tempting to think that our adequacy as a parent can be measured by how well our kids are behaving. I've known thousands of parents over the course of my career. I am a parent. And don't get me wrong, I think positive parenting is one of the most important things that we can do for our kids. Having said that, there's a lot of really great parents whose kids are going off the rails in one direction or another. I had an opportunity recently to do a keynote at the state prison, a correctional facility. The room was filled with incarcerated individuals who had not really listened to what their parents told them to do. Had they listened to their parents, they probably wouldn't be there, right? Just keep it in the back of your mind somewhere that even good parents have kids that go off the rails. I've seen it the other direction too, that kind of marginal parents have kids who turn out pretty well. So it's not all about the parenting. Parenting is important. I can help you with that. But it's not all about the parenting. So let's get it out of our head that if we're good enough parents, our kids will listen and obey. Here's one of the reasons I think we need to really watch out for this, because the next thought is, if my kids are not listening and obeying, therefore I must be a bad parent. You're not a bad parent. In fact, the evidence is strongly suggesting that you're a good parent. How do I know that? I don't even know you. Well, you're here, aren't you? You're listening to this video. That means to me that you are taking your job seriously. As a conscious, loving parent, you're doing a good job. Now, could you be doing a better job? Well, yeah, but when is that going to stop being true? Ever? There's always room for improvement. Look, take this idea into your heart for just a moment. You're a good parent. You're doing a good job. Let's keep working on improvements, but let's start from that point, shall we? Thinking error number 2, things will be easier when my kids are older. I think this thinking error comes from that traditional way of thinking that the grass is always greener on the other side of the fence. Whatever it is that we're dealing with currently seems harder. There's a psychological reason for this. Our brains are attuned to pain, difficulty, challenge, struggle. What I mean is, whatever you're experiencing currently, if it creates any kind of challenge or struggle for you, that's the most important, significant challenge or struggle on the planet for you in this moment. So it's really easy to think that if things were different, if my kids were older, if I lived in a different place, if I had this, or if I had that, or if I'd already accomplished whatever, things would be so much easier. And it's flawed thinking. What we find out is that things change. And things will be different when the kids are older. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's easier. It's just different. For a significant portion of my career, I was doing child custody evaluations for the court. This is yuck work. These are bitter, angry, divorcing people who can't figure out how to share their kids. And the court would send me in to try to figure out what's going to work best for these kids, what's in their best interest. Not easy to do. And I've seen a lot of people make that same error of thinking that, oh, things will be so much easier when I'm divorced. Or things would be so much easier if I were married, or if I were single, or if I weren't single. It depends on where they are. And their brain tells them that it's easier somewhere else. What they find is it's just different. You trade one set of problems for another, but you also get to have one set of benefits in place of the other. See, there's always upsides and downsides. Is it harder when your kids are young? Well, it depends on what you compare it to. There's things that are easier about that. There's things that are harder about that. As your kids get older, certain things go away, other things show up. Are you with me on this? It's really more helpful to think about stage, not age. Now, this is something we go through regularly in our parent coaching programs. I'm not going to spend a lot of time explaining that on this video, but I do have a PDF copy of the model for you. Go to the URL that's on the screen right now, drpauljenkins.com/stages. And you can get a PDF copy of what I'm talking about here, the model that we use in our parent coaching. When I say stage, not age, just think of moral development. Moral development is all about how we make our decisions and how we decide what's right and what's wrong and what we're going to do, how we regulate our behavior. Well, kids go through these stages of moral development. At stage 1, it's very selfish and self-centered. They don't have an ability really to connect to other people very well. And so it's very demanding and manipulative. This is stage 1. Younger kids are typically at stage 1 because they're not mature enough yet to do anything else. When our kids get a little older, we expect them to move up to a higher stage. Stage 2 is about cooperation. This is when they will listen and communicate. Now, they don't always do what they're supposed to do, but they'll at least communicate with you. This is stage 2. And stage 3 is the highest stage. That's where there is maturity and responsibility and good decision making that drives their behaviors. So when we understand the stages, we can understand it's not about how old my child is. It's about how they're making their decisions and regulating their own behavior. That's what we go over in the model. I told you up front that I was saving the most important one for last. The biggest thinking error that I see that sabotages our parenting is this. It's my job to make sure that they, whatever, fill in the blanks. Make sure that they are good, productive citizens. Make sure that they obey. Make sure that they get their schoolwork done. Make sure that they do their chores. Make sure that they are responsible. Make sure that they are respectful. Make sure that they, whatever it is, that's the biggest thinking error that parents make. Because think about it. You can't make sure that they're safe. Make sure that they're... I had a neighbor who accidentally backed over his toddler, resulting in the toddler's death. Now, if it's my job to make sure that they're safe, I just failed miserably. Look, accidents happen. And I share that tragic example with you because this is a good parent. My neighbor and his wife, wow, phenomenal examples of positive parenting, and yet this happened. Now, I share that with you because we get it in our head sometimes that it's our job to make sure that they, whatever. And we can't do that because we don't control all of the factors. Plus, there's this little thing called agency. Agency is what I think is a God-given gift to every member of this planet to direct their own lives. They get to choose. This is true for your kids. Now, sometimes as parents, we think, well, it would be better if I could just make sure that they, or control their little lives somehow. We share control. The model that I promised you earlier shows how control and maturity interact with each other. And yes, we have to take some level of control when they're little, but as our kids get bigger, they start to take more control. And whether you share it with them or not is up to you, but even if you don't share it, they're going to take it at some point. You cannot control your children. And that's why it's so important to get past this thinking error. It's not your job to make sure that they anything. Your job is to love them, no matter what, and even if. Can you do that? Latch onto that thought for a minute and just see how that feels to you, to consider that your job is to love them. Now, you're probably thinking, Dr. Paul, I already love my kids. Yes, I know. So you're already doing your job. Now, there's that next part, no matter what, and even if. And we can play the even if game. Even if they hate you. Oh, they've tried that on you? Yeah, you still love them, don't you? Even if they don't obey? Yes. Even if they break the law? Even if they try drugs? Even if they get pregnant as a teenager? Even if they... You got it? No matter what, and even if. That's your job. Does that come as a little bit of a relief? To know that your job is to love them, no matter what and even if. Quick recap of those 3 thinking errors. Number 1, if I'm a good parent, my kids will listen and obey. Look, you can be a good parent regardless of what your kids are doing. Thinking error number 2, things will be easier when my kids are older. No, they'll be different. There's upsides and downsides to everything. And thinking error number 3, my job is to make sure that they. No, your job is to love them no matter what and even if. You got this? Hey, thanks for watching today. Click that subscribe button and share this video with someone that you think would appreciate it. Remember to grab your PDF copy of the model that I referenced in this video. Go to drpauljenkins.com/stages. I'll see you on the next video.